Okay, so I said I'd show you how to make your PowerPoint. This is a PowerPoint that I found from a long time ago. It was dated 2013. It was for my bachelor's degree in nursing, and so my group was responsible for making a PowerPoint. This is our draft. I'm hoping that somebody was responsible for making it look pretty, because this is pretty boring and plain, not at all my style. And so clearly you have a title slide here, which you would be required to do, and obviously you won't have a whole bunch of people there. It's just going to be your name. Your first slide should then get into your presentation. So I do want you to put notes on your pages, and so your notes are going to be assisting you when you are recording, and it's also going to provide your audience with I guess a copy of what you've stated. So in order to add notes to your slides, first things first, I hope you all are familiar with how to use PowerPoint. You should all have access to PowerPoint through the website at West Hills College. You can probably find that on the library's website, if not on the actual school website, but you should all have access to PowerPoint. You may be able to do this in Google Slides. I'm not that familiar with Google Slides, and if you're using anything else and you have trouble, reach out and let me know, and we can try to figure something out. But for the most part, I'm very familiar with PowerPoint, and that's pretty much it. So from this view area up here, I've selected the view option. You can see it normal, which is going to have your images of your slides on one side. On this left side here, you'll have your slide you're currently working on here, and at the very bottom you're going to have a section for notes, and so it says click to add notes. So you click on there, and if I was going to discuss this certain page, I may decide that I want to write something very specific. So I might write the image of nursing is multi-dimensional, blah, 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 blah. And I'll keep writing. And so everything you're going to say on this slide should be written here as a reference for you later on, and I'll show you how you could utilize this so you're not having to wing it when you're recording your slides. Some of you that are using my lecture PowerPoint audio on there, you may see that some of my slides I do have some words written in the notes, and that was more for you. I found it very time consuming to do, so to the extent of this class, I have not put a whole lot of notes in there. For future classes, I'm going to try really hard to put my notes there, but for this class you only have 10 slides, so it should not take you that long to write down exactly what you want to say. And what you could do too is just copy and paste from your submitted assignments for each section. So say you're going to be talking about the emergency management of this condition, you can copy and paste what you've previously written into this notes section. Just edit it a little bit so that it sounds more like you're speaking versus writing, because you all should be writing differently than you actually speak. And when we speak, we don't want to sound robotic, and so we sometimes will change it up a little bit when we speak. But okay, so that's how you would add your notes at the bottom. You should also be citing your sources. If say for example, this entire slide is all coming from one reference, the way that we decided to reference this was to put a bullet point with the actual reference here. So you should be writing it in your APA format that you're already pretty familiar with. It's the author and the date, the year of the date. So you'd put that there. And what you could do, if it's a really long one like this, if this was something like final draft, I would have probably made this font smaller so it doesn't take up so much room, because we don't want that to be the main focus. I just want to know where you're getting your information from. So later on, if I have a question about that slide, I can look up this reference and see this Rizet. I can come down here to the reference slide and see Rizet, and this is from an article that's called The Nursing Image an evolutionary concept analysis, and this is a journal article from Contemporary Nurse Journal. So I know this is a journal article. There's a concept analysis that was done on this, so I know this is a pretty good reference to use for this particular slide. If you have more than one, or say, and for example, on this page, we have a couple of things about the current image of nursing. And so we've got fictional stuff, we've got factual stuff. All of the information on this slide is then again from that exact same reference. And as you can see here, the first time you use your reference, if there's more than one name, the second time you use it, you can actually make it shorter to it et al. This basically is just a shortened version, so it's not as cumbersome, it's not as large. I probably still would make this a smaller font just to make it not the focus of this slide. On this slide here, we've chosen to use two separate citations for the information we have. So we're citing basically what Oklahoma does in their state versus what California does in their state. So we have two different citations for this, one of them being Nelson and the other one being the California Board of Registered Nursing. So if I wanted to look up what Oklahoma does, I may want to go back to Nelson and see Nelson's this one here. I can click on this website and find out oklahomanurses.com, or I guess it's oknurses.com. Okay, so this is what it would look like if you're going to use two within the same slide. You would need to make it obvious that your factual information is coming from a particular source. Like in this one, it's hard to say if I didn't have my reference there, or if I had two references listed, where is the information coming from? So on this slide, if I had more than one source of giving me, say this one was from Rosati, let's do it correctly. Rosati 2020, and then this one here is from, I don't know, let's pick a different name, Mike, that's my husband, that's just the first name that popped in my head, 2019. So you would have to cite each thing differently if it's coming from a different source, just to make that clear. So I know that if you, or your colleagues also know, that if you're stating a fact, where that fact came from. If all the facts are all from the same source, by all means, just do one citation at the very bottom. Here, it was like, again, you should be having a citation like so after every stated fact. So this is a stated fact, we have a citation. This is a stated fact, we have another citation. It's the same citation, except it may be a different page number. I'm not sure why the page number is not listed, but we're stating two separate facts. We have to have a citation for each, and all of you should be doing this. Basically, every sentence you have that's not your own opinion or something that you've kind of come up with on your own as an explanation for something should be cited as a fact. Also on our references pages, we have all of our references listed in alphabetical order. You have 7 weeks worth of assignments. You have probably several citations from different sources, and so when you list them all together in one, it's going to be more than just 2 or 3 at a time. I've not deducted points for in the past on your previous assignments for not having them in alphabetical order, but they should be in order by the last name or the first letter of the author. Okay, so this is an example of that. The next thing, how do we actually add voice to this? So you know how to put notes in the bottom, and how do we add voice? So when you are going to, when you're ready, when you have all your slides together and you have all your notes at the bottom, you're going to click to slideshow, and then there's an option here that says record slideshow. When you click record slideshow, it's going to open up a new screen. And this is what the screen should look like.